Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for coming my session at the last day in the morning. I really appreciate it. Okay, so today I'm talking about the style of Datomic from Ruby, from Rails. Really straightforward title, but I'm doing that, using Datomic from Ruby. My name is Yoko Harada, and I am on Yoko at GitHub and Twitter, and I'm a JRuby core contributor. I'm a JRuby person. This is very important. Please remember, use JRuby. I'm also a Nokogiri core contributor. I work for Pure Java Nokogiri. And I am Japanese, so this word is very difficult to pronounce. Relevance. Now I work for Relevance as a developer. All right, then. Today I will talk about these three topics. First, I talk about Diametric gem. This introduction of Diametric gem. Then I'm gonna talk about Datomic a little bit. People who don't know what is Datomic, so it's just an introduction. And third, I'll talk about Diametric gem in detail, how we can use, what Diametric gem is doing. Sorry, the word Datomic and Diametric is really similar, so I myself confuse this. All right, then Diametric gem introduction, first slide. Diametric gem is hosted by Relevance, places here. And it is an ActiveModel wrapper of Datomic. And from MRI, we can use Diametric by REST service. REST service is a part of Datomic. And from JRuby, we can use both REST and peer service. These two services are supported by Datomic. And more importantly, this peer service is implemented by Java extension. Java extension is like C extension to C Ruby. Ruby method is implemented in Java. This is just like pure Java Nokogiri is doing. I'm using the same technology to here. And Diametric gem is hosted on Relevance, but it is open source, so anyone can contribute it. I appreciate pull request. So this is just want to clarify the Diametric gem. So Relevance sells Datomic license, and Relevance does consulting of Datomic and support, but this gem is just open source, and this is a third-party product for Datomic. So Diametric gem is introduced here. That page. Also, coding time. So Relevance allow employee to do whatever they want to work on. It is called 20% time, and it is on every Friday. So my coding time is just this Friday hug day. I wrote this picture for last year's JRubyCon. This is a Friday hug from JRuby. Also, I work on weekend for this gem. And so far, 3 developers worked for this gem. Clinton on the left for you, so left, started this Diametric gem. Then Ryan, center, and me on the right joined this project. And right now, I'm only one, so I'm also said I appreciate pull request. Yes, diametric gem is really a challenge. I'm gonna show you what Datamic is later, but when people say Datamic, it means language is Clojure. So many people are happy to use Datamic from Clojure. But there's a Java API, also REST service. So Ruby can use it. But we need a little bit tweak. I will talk about that later. Then stop here about the diametric. I'm gonna talk about the Datamic a little bit. So Datamic is created by Richie Hickey. Do you know Richie Hickey? Yes? Yeah? Yeah, he's famous. He's a creator of Clojure. So this is so Datamic is best to use Clojure. And next, here. So a couple of people asked me this sort of question. Is Richie Hickey a relevance employee? So this might be a little bit confusion, so I clarify this here. The answer is no. Datamic is a joint venture between Richie and Relevance, and also Richie and Relevance collaborate on its development. So Relevance do much part of Datamic, but Richie and Relevance is collaborating. Okay, this is some sort of definition. Datamic is not NoSQL. They call NewSQL database. Naming is hard. I asked this to Datamic team, but they don't have a clear answer, so they call it NewSQL. So I wrote this. I defined this NewSQL. And Datamic guarantees ACID like RDBMS. Yeah, Datamic is invented by Rich Hickey, so it is like Clojure, has idea of simplicity. So Datamic is schema, data, and queries are all simple arrays and hash. This is an example. Yeah, so don't worry about this schema. You don't need to write this. Clojure people write this, happily write this. This is Clojure hash and array. But diametric gem convert that generate that schema. So Ruby people, don't worry about it. The point here is I want to show how Datamic is different from RDBMS. So schema is like this, array of hash. This is data, also array and hash. And query, so Datamik use DataLog as a query language. It is also array in array. And more importantly, Datamik is like Clojure. Data is immutable. Yeah, it is immutable. So when I learned first, I thought, what? It is database. So let's think about the difference between RDBMS and Datamik. So this is an excerpt from this URL. It says the RDBMS was invented by blah, blah, blah in the early 1970s. 1970s. How many years ago? So Rails is just 10 years. www, World Wide Web is 20 years. RDBMS is 40 years ago. In those days, resources were limited. Even this Macintosh released 10 years after, so 1980s. It is important to save space, save resources. So Richie Hickey called it place-oriented programming. So new data comes in, old data deleted, and a new one replace it. So suppose we have album table. There's a my boyfriend field. New boyfriend picture comes in, old boyfriend picture go out, deleted. Might be same person, might be different person. Anyway, replace it. More than 40 years later, Datomic was invented. Resources are not limited anymore. It is era of cloud, so we don't need to delete data. This is why data is immutable. On Datomic, data is called a fact. Fact never changes. For example, this is Clinton's GitHub ID. He changed his GitHub ID. Now he has this CR address, but it is a fact. Before his GitHub ID was CR Nixon. So this is also a fact. There's a two facts there. We can't replace this. So facts are always added to in Datomic. Yeah, everything is in the Datomic, in old data, new data. So Datomic, it is easy to have an idea of time. So like this picture, this is OS X time machine. So we can roll back database state to at some point. For example, database of an hour ago, or database or a month ago, or sometime. It is easy on Datomic. Also, the idea do more on the programming side. Datomic has a Clojure and Java API, and query engine is on the programming side, not the database side. So this means read scale easily because we can control on the programming side. So this summary of difference of Datomic and RDBMS. So RDBMS is like that. It's familiar. So some data comes, new data comes in. So some field of table of some field will realize it. On Datomic, new circle is added to there. This is Datomic. Now I will talk about Diametric gem, this time gem in detail. So we are back here. It is a challenge. Most of them are for Clojure right now, so it is a first challenge. So schema, I showed you Datomic schema, but on Diametric gem, we don't need to write this sort of schema. We can write this class. So include Diametric entity, and I will talk about just peer service today. So I include Diametric persistent peer. There's also a Diametric persistent rest, and this attribute is will be a fact, and this class has a name attribute and node rate attribute. These will be the fact. Next, data. Diametric gem also generates Datomic transaction data. So we can write on the right side like a new instantiate model and set value and save. We will save. Method mapping is also a Diametric James job. So on the Datamic, almost everything is transact. Transact converted to create schema on Diametric Gem. Transact converted save. Save includes update. Transact converted to delete. And there's a Clojure style query rule. I want to convert this, but this is very difficult, so this is in progress. And query, DataLog query, this also converted to a DataLog. So we write on the right, like a right side. I will show you this demo, so please remember, like the Diametric does this kind of a generating code. And another challenge is using the Datomic API. So finally, it went to Java extension for JRuby. We can use Datomic Java API directly from Ruby code, but it is not good for some reason, because when Datomic raises exceptions, it is raw Java exception and it blows up IRB or price session. Just a single typo, we need to start from the side first. Also, argument and return values are, if we use the Datomic Java API directly, we need to convert by ourselves. But Diametric Gem does for you, so we can use Ruby object for argument. We can get Ruby object as a return value. But just in case, something Diametric Gem doesn't support right now, but you want to use that method, there's a two Java method, and you can get raw Datomic class or object from this method and type any method that Datomic supports. Okay, demo time. First, I'm gonna show you this demonstration. So this is very simple. So class, can you see that class definition? Is it legible? Okay. This is class definition on peer, and I will first connect and do something. So I'm lazy to type everything, so I use price session here. So first thing is to connect to Datomic. Diametric does like this. If connected, then we will create schema. So like I said, person.schema, like this. Diametric Gem generate this schema. Then create schema is done, and next we set value, and yeah, this data is just like this. And save. This is another pattern of creating a model instance. So it is just Ruby hash. So we can set like this. Okay, and this is okay, query. Yep. Diametric Gem generate this query. So this is a DataLog query. So we don't need to write the DataLog. Just we write this query new and give it a model class. And what is the result? Is like this. Yeah, there's two models are in it. Then, okay. This is another pattern of query. So there's Diametric has where and filter. This is an example of where. So I specified name Yoko here. So the result, let's see. This query is mapped to this. So can you see this name here? Sorry, this is hard to look at. This is a DataLog way of specifying some field. And result, oops. Result is Yoko. All right, then I set time. Yep, okay, so I set this time past. So it's already passed a few seconds ago. Okay, I will change my node rate. My node rate goes up to 60 and save. Well, yeah, so right now, my node rate is 60 because I set 60 to my model instance. Then I will do this. This is Datomic. As of past, this is a pull out old database state. This is the method to pull out. Now I can get all database. Making a query like this, but I give it argument past DB because I want to make a query to past DB. So I give it to this argument. All right. Result. Okay. Yoko's node rate is 50. This is old fact. And another one is filtering. This is straightforward Clojure. So this sort of mapping is very hard, and this is in progress. This is an easy pattern, but there's a very complicated pattern, and I don't know how I can map those. Sometimes people write function of a function here because it is Clojure. So very hard. But this query returns just Clinton because I'm making this query to latest database, ConfDB. Also, my node rate is not yet 70. Excuse me. Okay, then back to my slide. Well, this is not good. I will show you another complicated example here. So this is called Seattle sample. There's a big community in Seattle. This is Datomic community in Seattle, and they maintain Seattle sample. It is really complicated. So let me show you class definition. Is like this, really complicated. So basically, there's an attribute. But also, there's enum. Datamic use enum. So Ruby doesn't have this type, but on Diametric, we can specify enum. So let's look at each attribute. So first one is name. Type is string. Cardinality 1. This is subject to full text search and document. Second one is very similar, so I'm gonna skip this. Third one is neighborhood attribute. This is a reference type. Reference type might point to other model, but in some case it points to enum. This type is neighborhood. So, oh, I need to say this. I made a mistake, so I named a confusing name. This class is Seattle, but this is not a city. This class not represent city. This is more like organization definition. Yeah, so don't confuse that. So this organization has name, URL, and neighborhood, and also this organization has category. Category is type is string, but cardinality many, also subject to full text search. And whereas attribute org type, this is reference. This org type reference means shows enum type bottom second from bottom, and this is enum type. Also, there's a type reference type, and actually it is enum. The relation here is shadow. So this organization has neighborhood. Okay, and this neighborhood has two attributes, name and reference. This reference, district reference, is bottom. This type. Name region is enum defined here. Okay, the first example is not so complicated, so all right. I created 3 schemas. I specify this connection here. This is peer specific. Because there's no limitation of resources, there might be a couple of databases. Actually, I use this sort of things to test Diametric. So some of the test case has each example. So it shows something that each example has their own database. So our spec runs concurrently, but there's no interaction to other test case. Each example, this is very easy on Datomic. So this is an example to specify a connection here, and I created on this 3 model on this database. Okay. Now this is easy part. Just set data. So enum is like the district region is we can specify like this. Enum is like this, and all right. And we set neighborhood and shadow. This is nothing new. Just setting it, and cardinality many is like array in Ruby. Then save it. Okay, and this result is something like this. This is internal of the Datomic, so you don't need to worry about, but Datomic returns this sort of data. Then I make a query here. This query is gorgeous because we have a lot of field here. And example and okay. What data is returned? It is like this. It's so. All right. Maybe I should roll back here. Yeah, this is just looking at what we returned, and this is a little bit different we expect, but this is inevitable because Datomic returned set is not array. Order is not guaranteed. So we decided to return set to alert users this is not array. Okay, and oops, sorry. Okay, where am I? Right here. Also, I put a print out what are there. Okay, right, this we can use here, and I'm gonna show you one more example. I use the same data here, but this time I use a lot of data. So we will use this. This is Clojure data. I don't want to type these all, so Diametric have read all method. That read all method read this raw Datomic data. So Clojure people write this sort of data, but we don't want to do that. Okay, I will show you. All right, right here. This code doing creating schema and read that data. So there's a line read all that read such sort of data at the same time and transact it. Then this make a transact this method is directly transact, but this means save data to Datomic. Then back to here, and there's a result. Too many results are there. Results. This takes so long because there's a huge data and Diametric gem create object. Okay, but there's too many, this sort of thing. So now we have 362 data here. Erase that. Then this is interesting part of. This is a starting interesting part, but very hard to understand. This query. So there's a relationship. Shadow. This is a organization. This organization has neighborhood. Now I'm focusing on neighborhood. I'm trying to find neighborhood whose name is Capitol Hill. Okay. Then this is a method. What I am doing here is I'm looking at neighborhood. Neighborhood is a child of shadow class. So from child class, I'm looking at shadow class. This is navigating up. So from child class, I'm looking what parent classes have the same name as their neighborhood name. This is very easy on Datomic. Okay, this is so hard to looking at. So just collect name. There's 5 organizations who claims my neighborhood name is Capitol Hill. So this is a good part of Datomic, and this is easy to traverse such a complicated graph or something. I don't show you this time, but there's such example. So this is a good part of Datomic. All right. Then I will read bunch of data again here. Oh, I omit that part. Sorry. Yes, there's another dataset, shadow data 1.dt, and this is really similar, but really different one. Okay, and right now, to make sure what the database was, so right now, this this our spectral sort is succeeded. So there's actually 360 data in there, and also like that, I set the past time now. Then I'm gonna read that bunch of data. Now we have 571 data now. And I will roll back the time again as of. And same query, then results.size is actually 362. We could roll back the database to the past. So it is just a little bit past, maybe a few seconds past. But we could roll back the database state. But we also have a current database state. So we can pull out any time of database state on the Datomic. This is a good part. All right. Okay, then I will back to my slide. So what about Datomic from Rails? I would say, look at this slide. Okay, look at this slide. This is run on localhost 3000 slideshow, something familiar to us. This is actually working example of Datomic from Rails. You are looking at working example. Yes, so my slide spec is this, JRuby on Rails, because I'm using peer connection, peer service. So this is a JRuby on Rails. Diametric gem, this is still master, not yet released, sorry. And Datomic free transactor. So Datomic has a free transactor that is free to use. We can save data to a file. I'm using that. So I'm just scaffolded. This is my slide creation page. Not very nice interface, but it works. I'm just scaffolded. Yeah. Okay. So, all right, and so conclusion, it works and it is fun, but there's a problem. Function mapping needs to be improved. So far, Java API support is not 100% and some other problems. So I appreciate pull request. Okay, so there's a reference. Datomic URL is here, and there's a GitHub repo. Some open source projects are there, and Diametric gem is here. And thank you, everyone.